Okay, last time we talked about one of four major sections, introduction, which explains the question, what did the researcher want to know and why did the researcher want to know it? Today, I want to talk about another part, methods, which answers the question how to conduct a study. The reader needs to understand what the researcher did to address the problem identified in the introduction. The method section should have as its goal a description of what was done to collect and analyze the data in sufficient detail, such as another researcher could appraise critically and replicate the study if desired. However, this section needs to be concise due to limited space in journal. In this section, you will describe the study design, sample citing, data collection, and data analysis. If the research project included a pilot study, the researcher describes the reason for the pilot, its implementation, and its results briefly. The method section is often subdivided into several parts, including research design, sample and citing, data collection, and data analysis. We have talked about study design before. Research design is the researcher's choice of the best way in which to answer a research question with respect to several considerations, including number of subject groups, timing of data collection, and intervention. The design of study needs to be described. As we have learned before, quantitative research may be interventional or non-interventional. The design is often given more detailed coverage in an interventional project than in a non-interventional one. For a qualitative study, the specific qualitative design could be phenomenology, grounded theory, or ethnography. No matter quantitative study or qualitative study, while writing research report, the study design should be explicitly stated. Now, we will illustrate the design with an article on hospital-acquired pressure ulcer. This is a prospective descriptive research design. Usually, the reader needs to know, first of all, who were the subjects participating in the study. The description of the subjects normally includes the specification of the population from which the sample was selected and the setting for the research. The setting is often described in one or two sentences, and the agencies are not permitted to be identified by name unless the permission has been obtained. Information on sample as a sampling method, inclusion or exclusion criteria, sample size, subject recruitment, sample characteristics should be delineated so that the reader can estimate the generalizability of the finding. Also, details about subject recruitment, including refusal or acceptance rates, should be reported. As we know, an appropriate sampling plan contributes to increase representativeness, decrease systematic bias, and decrease the sampling error. In this section, it is advisable to describe the demographic characteristics of this sample in narrative format so as to indicate the degree to which these characteristics are representative of the population. In the section about the sample and the subjects, researchers are expected to include information about how subjects' rights were protected and informed consent was obtained. Still, take as an example the article on hospital-acquired pressure ulcer. The sample was drawn from 19 inpatient units at a tertiary medical center. And this is sample characteristics. This section of the report describes the methods and the procedure used to collect data. Because of different approaches to research problems, data collection is an area of the report that varies greatly depending on the type of study. The description of the data collection process includes details such as who collected the data, the types of data collected, and whether collected through measurement or a qualitative method, and the procedure for collected data, including frequency and timing. Also, in most types of study, it is essential to identify what steps were taken to control the research situation in general and the extraneous variable in particular. In a qualitative study, a critical component in the method section is the description of the instruments used to collect the data. A detailed explanation of the instruments and a rationale for their use are required to communicate to the reader. Its form and the content should be outlined in as much detail as possible. Also, any information relating to the reliability and validity should be described, not only in previously published study, but also in the current study. Details about the measures or instruments used in the data collection process are crucial if nurses are to critically appraise and replicate a study. If physiological measures are used, be sure to address their accuracy, precision, selectivity, sensitivity, and sources of error. For qualitative study, a detailed description of data collection methods such as interview, observation, document analysis, focus group should be identified. A procedure section provides information about what steps were followed in actually collecting the data. For example, in an experiment, how much time elapsed between the intervention and the measurement of the dependent variables. In an observational study, what was the role of the observer act as? When questionnaires are used, how were they delivered to respondents, and were follow-up procedures used to increase the response rate? Now, illustrate the data collection process and the procedure with an article on a hospital-acquired pressure ulcers. This part, it shows who collected data, where collected data, and what data collected. Data must be transformed into results through analysis. Similar to data collection, data analysis varies greatly depending on the type of study. For quantitative study, the analysis plan consists of statistical analysis for each research aim, questions, or hypothesis. It is often sufficient to merely identify the statistical procedures used. For qualitative study, this section highlights the name of the method of analysis and the documentation of decisions about the analysis. Still, take as an example the article on acquired hospital pressure ulcers. In sum, the method section must outline the methods used in the study and give some explanation of it. We can't assume that readers will know what the method is about without any explanation. That's for today. Thank you. you.